In this first episode of Learn Supply Chain Analytics in 5 minutes, we are going to study how to help companies minimize their production cost. For that, we will study the Wagner-Whitin algorithm that will help you to find the optimal production schedule to find a balance between inventory and production setups. This is a very important solution for me because it was the occasion to do my biggest project since I started my own company Logigreen 2 years ago. So let's imagine that you are working in a large manufacturing plant that produces radio equipment. So your company receives orders from customers with a time scope of 12 months. So for each of the next 12 months, you know exactly the quantity that you need to deliver to the customer. As a production planner, your role is to find the optimal schedule to find the balance between inventory and production setup. When you are producing your goods, you have 3 different types of costs. So you have what we call the holding cost. So when you have a pallet of finished goods that you need to store in your warehouse, this is a cost. So you have the cost of location, the square meters, like all the equipment, but you also have the cost of the capital that is immobilized, right? So you want to minimize it. So to do that, you multiply the number of production batches. But for each batch, you have what we call the setup cost. So all the time that is needed to set up the machines can be converted into time of high-level engineers and technicians. So let's imagine that you have pressure from the CFO and you want to minimize the inventory. So your holding cost will be minimal, that's good, but your setup cost will be very high. So for instance, for the 12 months, you are going to produce every month. So what you do is you say, okay, I will minimize the number of production setups. But if you do that, you are going to produce, for instance, the total quantity of the year, the first months. You will have a high inventory along the year. So your holding cost will increase. So it's not good. So you need to find the balance. Hopefully, Wagner-Whitin developed an algorithm, it's dynamic programming, that helps you to find the right balance. And it's very easy to use. And the result is nearly magic. So on the left, you have, I would say, the CFO planning, where basically the CFO tells you, I don't want to have any inventory, so produce exactly the quantity needed. So you have 12 different setups. So your setup cost is exploding, but you don't have inventory. And here you have the optimized version where you only produce 4 different months. So the first months, then the 6 months, the 9 months, and the 11 months. And the impact is huge. On the first scenario, you are basically exploding the total cost because you have 12 different setups. And on the second one, but you don't have a holding cost, which is the good news. But on the second one, it's a bit more balanced, but the total cost is way lower. So, and this has been computed by the algorithm. How? It's very easy. You take the demand that you have for the next 12 months, weeks, days. You also provide the holding cost, so the cost per pallet or cubic meter per day or month, and the same for the setup costs. You provide that to the model, and the model will compute the optimal plan. And you can then productize this solution in an algorithm connected to Anaplan, in a web application, in an AI agent. I did all of them for the customer I've been working with. Now, how to do that? There is a complete article for this. Let me show you. So if you follow the link that you can find in the description, you will arrive in my blog. So this is a complete article where I explain how the algorithm is built. I provide a concrete example. Here, it's an explainer video that teach you exactly the same content that you can find in the article. I explain what I told you before between the balance of minimizing inventory and minimizing number of production setup. And here I go in details, taking an actual example on how the algorithm is working. So I enter in the theory that I skipped during this the first section. You can have a look if you are interested. But what can be interesting for you is to click on this link. You will arrive in my GitHub where you have a code ready to be used that can be adapted to your needs. But if you go down in the article, I also share some examples on how I connected these optimization algorithms to AI workflows. So here I share an example where I connect that to an email workflow. So instead of clicking on the user interface, you send the parameters by email. So let's imagine the sales team sends that directly to the mailbox of the planner. The AI workflow parse the content and generate the optimal planning. And I explained that here, how to do that without writing a single line of code using anything. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section and see you for the next episode.